Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and since it's Women's History Month, I'm here today to talk to you about Clueless, the 1995 movie. Every once in a while there comes that special movie that sticks in the minds of millions of people and become a cult classic. And then other companies try to rip them off or make movies that are similar to them. And one of these movies is Clueless. So amazing cult classic of a movie that came out at the end of the 20th century. And Clueless was it was written and directed by Amy Heckerling. And she's the one also responsible for formatting the Clueless TV show and adapting it for a sitcom fashion. And so, Clueless, for many people who don't know, is loosely based off of Jane Austen's 1815 novel Emma. That's a long freaking time. But what an adaptation. I've never read the book, I've never seen the movie. I could care less. I just stick with Clueless. And Clueless, it's one of those things that, if it was remade today, it would probably be more like Mean Girls, Because this movie has all the tropes, all the stereotypes, and yet it was able to make it work because it was brilliantly written. And it wasn't written just to be another stupid knockoff movie. It was written to, appeal to people of that time and a social commentary of, hey, this is how people act. Let's just amp it up by 100. That's one of the reasons why so many people don't like the television show. The television show was watered down to be slightly more realistic and stuff. It was still a sitcom, it was still a comedy, it was still a drama, but it wasn't like a parody. When you watch this movie is almost a parody. It takes all these personalities and stereotypes and tropes, and like I said before, it amps it up by 100. And all the performances are amped up by 100 to be like a huge, ha 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 type comedy, and it works. And it's ineptitude and stuff. Alicia Silverstone will always go down in history as being Cher Horowitz. She perfected that role to be the biggest, dixiest Valley Girl, blonde there is, And the only other person who's ever came that close, in my opinion, was Kimberly from Power Rangers. In fact, I think, did Power Rangers come out before this? Did it come out in 93 or 95? Oh, wait, it came out in 93. So technically, Kimberly Hart from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is the ultimate Cher Horowitz and stuff. But and like I said before, nothing against Rachel Blanchard and stuff. I think she did an amazing job as Cher for what was written for her, because she wasn't written to be the Alicia Silverstone version of Cher. Cher's version is more... Okay, she's a protagonist and also an antagonist at the same time. She's blended somewhere and nicely in the middle. She's an extremely selfish, mentally inept, Valley Girl, and she only uses her smarts for conniving ways and fashion. And so for the series, they had to change that up. They couldn't have somebody who only does things for their own selfish greed. You know what I'm saying? So they made the television version more of a sympathetic character and a person who still helps others, but actually helps them because she wants to help them out. And it worked, in my opinion. And Rachel played her to be a more kinder, more understanding version with her soft-spoken voice. It would have been nice if she had some more Valley Girlness in her, because it was quite awkward to see her so calm and meager. She needed some of that ineptness, but she didn't bring it. and but she brought it a little bit in the ABC version, but almost more of a not, but so much more of a she turns the other like cheek, cover her ears, blinds her eyes to not see the realization of how things are. Whereas in the movie, she's just nuts and just dumb in the head. And stuff. But then when I went to the UPN version, that's when things got way more serious in the show. And and I think it's a fine show. I think it's a great show. It needs to be out on DVD. The show expanded more on these lifestyles of these people, but made more fun of them and stuff. But this movie, man, rewatching it brought back so many good memories. I haven't watched it in many years, probably over 20 years. I haven't watched this movie. And that's because, like, I got rid of the VHS many years ago to record over it. Because I told myself, all right, I'm bound to, like, buy it on DVD. Which it took me forever to buy it on DVD. I'm not quite sure why it took me forever to buy it. I think the price. There was no way in the world I was gonna pay that price for something that's been out since the 90s and stuff. So I waited until it was around like $5 or something. And then so I got it. And then when I was gonna get it, the stores didn't have it no more. But I think Best Buy is one of those stores that always has it, but it doesn't have it anymore. But there was no way I was gonna spend $20 or even $10 on a movie that came out in the 90s. Man, you gotta be crazy. Like, it was the 90s. I expect my 90s movies to be around the $5 to $7 market. And stuff. And rewatching this movie, it really makes you wonder just how little of a role the other characters in the movie had. Like Amber, of all things, who was in the TV show. Amber has a huge role in the TV show. She's the antagonist, the frenemy and everything. She is cruel, she is mean, and her fashion sense is insane. Whereas in the movie, she's relegated to just a recurring background kind of character. She's always in the background. She's part of the social group of like Cher's friends, but they don't really interact that much. And also she's a little bit more. Okay, she still is like, doesn't care about stuff and tries to get out of things, but she's not as mean as she is in the show. Like, it is like completely flipped on this head how mean she is in the show. Like in the movie, the only time her and Cher don't agree on anything is when it comes to debate class, and that's because they're debating each other. And most of the time, she always tells the teacher, well, if she's not going to do the assignment, why should I? And everything. But there's only one time in the movie she's actually cruel, mean to somebody, and that's only one time. So it's really interesting how she's barely in the movie, yet she's part of the social circle, and she doesn't really interact with them, especially Dion. Like, her and Dion in the show are like mortal enemies and stuff, but in the movie, they're not. So this is why I appreciate the show. It really stepped up like the volume on some of these characters, like Sean. Sean has a cameo in the movie. He was just there to be a one-note person. But when they decided to restructure the show for whatever reason, they brought that character back in. Now, he does not have a name in the movie, and for the most part, I don't really think nobody knows who he is and stuff. And it's just like he's just there for that one particular scene and that's it. Whereas in the show, he is Murray's best friend and everything. And he does everything Murray does, and he's dopey and stupid in the head in the show. But in the movie, he's literally just there to shave Murray's head bald like his and stuff. And it's crazy how he was just a one-note character and then became this mega character in the television show. And Cher's social circle is very different from the show. In the movie, it consists of herself, Dion, Murray, Ty, Elton, and then sometimes Christian, but Christian doesn't really show up until like the middle of the movie. And then Summer. Summer, I completely forgot what's in this movie until the movie started starting. When I rewatched this movie, I'm all like, Hold up, there's an Asian person in this movie and part of Cher's friend circle. Her name is Summer Han, and she's played by Nicole Blinderback. And so you might not I can't talk, recognize the name Nicole Blinderback, but you recognize her face. She tends to pop up in a lot of stuff in the 90s and the early 2000s, normally as like the best friend role. She's been in Buffy. She was in Bring It On. She was the Asian girl in Bring It On. I remember her as Brenda from Dark Angel and stuff. But she's been in multiple stuff as like guest starring roles and stuff like that. One day I want her to get her big break. I really do, because I love seeing her on screen. She has this gorgeous face and this really unique vibe to her and stuff. And she really needs to be putting more. She needs a better agent. She needs a better agent. And I completely forgot Summer is all in this movie, but Summer is sadly just relegated to a background character, more background so than Amber. She's in nearly every scene, but she's always in the background and she's always popping up, wanting to do this or wanting to do that. And like, she's the one who wanted to do suck and blow. She's the one who wanted to take Ty Cher back home, but then Cher got in the car with Elton instead. And like something else she wanted to do, I completely forgot, but I completely forgot she's even in this movie. And see, this is why representation matters to death. They had slight representation of the Asian community in this movie and they did absolutely nothing with it. She was just like, wasn't really like a best friend. She was more like an acquaintance and everything. She was just part of their circle, but she didn't really contribute too much to like the movie. She didn't say much, she didn't do much, and that's like bad representation right there on the writer's part. They should have added her in more and everything and had her do more. And sadly, they did not. Now, I know she did audition for other roles. She auditioned for Josh's girlfriend. I think she also auditioned for somebody else, like another small character role, but she eventually got this role. Now, what's crazy is just like with other characters in like the television show who guest starred, like Paul Rudd, who was Josh, Brittany Murphy, may she rest in peace, as Ty, she was in the show as well, but played a completely different character. And she even played, like, she was in 3 episodes. I don't even remember that, to tell you the truth. I can't wait until I rewatch the entire television show on YouTube, because sadly, you can't watch it no place else. Another character that really, like, I couldn't believe they had such a small role in the movie was Murray, Dion's boyfriend. He's just there to play a stereotypical like boyfriend type dude. He's rude to Dion, always calling her woman and stuff. And he's always getting into arguments with her. He's always trying to lay down the law with her. He's kind of like the Martin character from like Martin Lawrence character from Martin. And he has like the baggy jeans because that was the style back then, and the baggy clothes, and he's the one with braces and stuff. And he's mainly just there to be Dion's boyfriend. So he's always popping in and out of the movie. But we do actually get backstory a little bit on him, as opposed to that of Amber and opposed to that of Summer. With him, it's just that, he loves Dion, but they're always arguing and stuff like that. And he's always disrespecting her. And it's to the point where he is a possible cheater and everything. Because she's always finding like stuff in like his place and his car, and it's kind of like it's not hers and stuff. And one of the funniest scenes with him, other than the part where he's getting his head shaved in the bathtub, or the part where like, woman, why you like jeeping me? And she's like, jeeping? Is the freeway scene when he's trying to teach Dion how to drive, because both her and Cher can't drive. It was one of the most hilarious car scenes I had ever seen in a movie and stuff. Basically, because this was so weird. It's like I watched the special features on the DVD, and I'm like, hold up, I've seen these special features before. It was actually added to the VHS many years ago, which is very rare. The freeway scene was actually real. They was on a real freeway, and they were not able to shut it down. So a lot of cars you saw in the background were the real thing. Now, the other cars, as opposed like the old people, the big semi truck, and like the motorcycle people, that was all them because they had to like choreograph that and stuff. And so their reactions were real and everything because he's from New York, and the actress who played Dion, she's from New York, and they don't drive. And so like the actress who plays Dion, she's all like, I just like pretended to be my one friend who drives and how she would act and kind of react. So they had to like not mess that up whatsoever when filming that scene. And so he told the camera dude who's behind him, make sure you put the camera on my face because I'm gonna see the big old truck in the back and I'm gonna holler. And it was one of the best things I ever seen. Now, what's so funny is the actor's all like, when he read that in the script and filmed it, he's all like, ain't nobody gonna find this funny. But then on the premiere night of the movie, everybody was like laughing hysterically at that scene. And now he thinks it's the best, like, freeway scene in the in any movie. And it is until you get to the second Matrix movie. But that's a completely different vibe and movie and stuff. Dion is just exactly how she is in the show, except for she's less mean in the movie. But she's a very fierce, very strong woman of a character. And you know what? If this was real life, or better yet, if this was like another comedy movie about like a clique, most likely she would be the leader because she is the rudest and everything out of like the entire clique. Because Cher is not very bright, but Dion has a little bit more sense and she's more fierce and everything. So I think if this was to ever get rebooted or made into like another movie, most likely the Dion character would be that leading character. And it breaks my heart to get to this character, the Ty character, played by Brittany Murphy, who I love to death. It was so tragic when she passed away. May she rest in peace. She was taken too soon, and the weirdest way she was taken. I think it was like, I can't remember. I think it was like a mold or fungus or something in her bathroom, and it was just so tragic, so tragic. She was so talented. And I can't wait to talk about Don't Say a Word later on this year because she was phenomenal in that movie. But she captivated everybody with the character of Ty. Ty is actually from like, I think like another state and city from that of Cher, because Cher was from California. And so Ty is the transfer student who Cher decides, you know what, she doesn't like this girl's look. She has a cute face and everything, but she needs a makeover. It's part of Cher's trying to be helpful, but more just being selfishness and stuff. And so like because of that, she completely revamps Ty, and to the point where Ty still has the personality that she always had. She's more of a grunge type girl, and she likes the grunge dude Travis. And Travis is a cool character in the movie. No matter how many times people insult him, he just has a big smile on his face and he keeps like coming on back, you know what I'm saying, and trying to help folks out. That's the kind of person he is. He is the true hero star in this movie, in my opinion. If I was to rework this movie, I would make Travis like, the guy who like the Prince Charming type dude, and I would have him get the girl, which technically he does get the girl, just not in the way you think. It just happens. There does need to be some restructuring of this movie. It was written in the 90s, for crying out loud, but there need to be some restructuring, and I would make him be like the Prince Charming type dude, you know what I'm saying? And I would have him end up with Cher at the end of the movie, because Cher is this overly selfish, preppy girl who only wants like guys that are like her, and she's very self-absorbed. And here he is being this very different kind of guy. But like I said before, he is a Prince Charming of a character. He always has a smile on his face. He's always trying to help people out. Even when they put him down, he's still trying to help them out. It would have made more sense in today's audience if she would have ended up with Travis. But anyway, Ty did like Travis at a point in the movie, but Cher and Dion kept forcing her not to like him. And it's to the point where, just like with all these other type of click type movies, Ty becomes the main it girl of the school, especially when she's almost like pushed over like the balcony of like the mall and everything. And now everybody's revolving around Ty and they're forgetting about Cher. It's like her own worst enemy, Cher created and stuff. And so Ty sadly becomes brainwashed in this whole like fashionista, like preppy girl type thing, to the point where she's so rude to people, even that of Travis. And it's when in the movie Cher is starting to be downgraded as a character and starting to rip away all her fashion type stuff and all her sassiness and prepness and all this other crap, her it girl status, mean girl, whatever you call it, you know what I'm saying? And she's starting to dress down and everything, very similar to Julie in Jawbreaker and stuff. And because all of these movies are all similar and just all ripping off one another, like Mean Girls, Clueless, Jawbreaker, they're basically all the same movie, but with a different like plot and stuff. And so like Ty becomes so mean that she insults Cher, talking about like, you're just a virgin who can't drive. Oh, that little, I can't do a that New York accent. I can't do it. Like, let me try. Like, Brooklyn, you're a virgin who can't drive and everything. Like the way she says it, and she says it in her sweet girl kind of way, but in a mean girl kind of way. And so you're really taken back by that. You're like, Ty, what are you doing and everything? Like you become such an evil girl because all throughout the movie, Cher is trying to get Ty with a guy named Ethan, but Ethan does not like Ty. He likes Cher. It's so obvious that he likes Cher all throughout the movie because he's always flirting with her and stuff, and she flirts back. But for whatever reason, Cher does not want him. And so when Elton doesn't want Ty, she's really upset about that. And one of the greatest scenes in the movie, other than her always getting hit in the head and falling down or tripping down the steps, like it's just so awesome. And her reaction is even greater. She's like, shit, dude, like that's like so embarrassing. It's the way she reacts to things that just made people fall in love with the Ty character even more. But what really made people fall in love with her was the rolling with the homies. Everybody loves that scene because the Elton character taught it to her, and she's just started like rolling with the homies. And then so like when they like never got together, she's all like, that was our song and everything. But she says in her Brooklyn like accent, and she starts banging her head on like the table and everything. This has caused people to actually listen to the song and actually now find it on YouTube. If you actually go to Coolio's actual YouTube page with the Rolling with the Homies song, you see tons of people talking about Clueless brought me here, or Ty brought me here, or rest in peace Brittany Murphy and Coolio and stuff. And it's remade that song popular and everything. And so like of course eventually Ty does like come to her senses, but she comes to her senses all by herself. And this is why I say it needs to be some restructuring, because after that, we don't see Ty again until Cher goes to like some kind of skateboarding event with Travis. This is why I thought her and Travis were gonna get together and stuff. But instead, Ty goes there and, her and Travis eventually get together. Now, Ty is technically in the show in the first season only, played by a completely different character. I don't remember how that version is, but she's not as cool as the one in the movie. They completely rewrote and kind of butchered the character of Ty in the show. It's not the actress' fault. It what was written for her. It's like two completely different people. And you have to watch it on YouTube to figure out what I'm talking about. Now I get the whole does anybody have any orange slices line in the Captain America Civil War movie. Because in Clueless, there's oranges everywhere. And Paul Rudd's character is constantly drinking orange juice. And Cher even makes orange juice from like scratch when giving it to her father. Now I get it. Now the Elton character is just a character who likes Cher. And he's always behind her, always flirting with her and stuff like that. And he's always getting an excuse to get out of class. Now when he does try to kiss Cher over and over and she fights him off, he drives off and everything and leaves her stranded. What was always so bizarre about this is that he faced no repercussions because of this. Afterwards, we see him at school once again and sitting behind Cher, just hanging out with his friends, and they still hang out with the same people. It was always baffling how they never addressed that, sexual harassment and stuff, and how he just remained the same character over and over who just wants to use the restroom to get out of class. And that's why sometimes this movie needs some restructuring. But you now need to get to the woman, the girl herself, Cher Horowitz, played by Alicia Silverstone, who killed it in this role. Cher is, like I said before, the ultimate valley girl. She is completely inept in the head and completely clueless. The better explain how she is. If you're familiar with Sailor Moon, she has that personality of Sailor Moon, completely stupid in the head. And she has good intentions, but it's completely selfish and stuff. And also, the thing about Cher is Cher likes to comment and narrate throughout the entire movie. She does it in the show too. But when she does it in the movie, she's giving her commentary on how she viewed things. And you see how ditzy she is in the head. But just like with Sailor Moon, she talks about how to get a guy. And so she gives the audience steps on how she thinks you should get a guy, the way you should dress, the way you should act, sending yourself flowers and candy to make him jealous. And whenever a guy comes over, also always have something baking in the oven, which is just the dumbest thing ever. But guys do like food and it's supposed to turn them on and want to do it and stuff. Now she is a virgin and she will not give it up and stuff. And that's one of her redeeming qualities right there, because when you watch this movie, she's actually somewhat of a villain in this movie. She is super lazy. She doesn't do her work at school. She doesn't put no effort into nothing. And when she's failing all her classes, this is when she starts sucking up to the teachers. She starts giving them excuses and all stuff like that. Her lesbian PE teacher, she just tells her that an evil man broke her heart and all this other stuff. And for Miss Geit, she just tells her she's going to do some type of environmental type thing, which of course she's not. But then she eventually does do at the end of the movie when she turns into a better character. But her one teacher, whose name I forgot, that famous dude who appears in everything, she cannot sway him and everything, and she's trying to do everything she can to pull up her debate grade and stuff, but she can't. And so she's failing all her grades, and then in order to get good grades and a curving path, she just lies to all her teachers and stuff. And to help out her one teacher who will not budge, she realizes something. What he needs is a woman. So she gets Miss Geist and she uses her to give her a makeover and everything. And then she starts setting things up that her and her teacher will fall in love with each other, and it works. And because of that, she's able to bump up her grade and stuff like that. So she didn't have them fall in love because she actually wanted those two to be together. She only did it to benefit her own goals and everything. And that is beyond selfish. So then when you start to see bad things happen to her in the movie, you don't feel so bad apparently until some of those bad things are really, really bad. because she's such a sweetheart and caring kind of person and a ditz and everything, you feel bad when she's with Elton and Elton is trying to put the moves on her and constantly trying to kiss her and everything, to where she has to like push him off so many times because he's sexually harassing her and stuff. Then she gets out the car because she's like pissed, but then he drives off because he's a punk. And then so after that, she gets like mugged and everything at gunpoint, to where a guy puts her on the ground and steals all her stuff. And so after that, she is completely like, I think she's in the valley, I think, wherever that is. I don't know what that is because I'm not from California. And so like, maybe it's a bad part of town. Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, she can't call her dad because he will kill her and everything, because she isn't even supposed to be out and that far out and stuff. And so she has to call Josh. Now, Josh is her former stepbrother, played by Paul Rudd. Josh is in college and he's about, maybe 5 years older than her or something like that. And he is really, really intelligent. He cares about the environment. He has a great GPA and everything. And he has a hippie type girlfriend who also cares about the environment and poetry and stuff. And he's learning to be a paralegal and everything. And Mel is her father. This version of Mel is like great. He's so grumpy and mean. May the actor rest in peace. They completely rewrote his character for the show. For the first season, it's a different actor playing him, and he's stern, but he's not mean, but he's a little nice. By the rest of the series, second and third, he's completely super, super, super nice and soft spoken, which made no sense. And so he was married to Josh's mother, but they divorced. They've been divorced for 5 years. But because they're so rich, she has him go stay with them and all this other stuff while she has a new husband, and he doesn't like that. Plus, he goes out to college around there, and he doesn't want to live in the dorms. And so like, she is really mean to Josh because she's the popular preppy girl. She's mean to people who are not like that. People who are nerdy like Travis, or more grungy and stuff and dorky like Travis and Josh. She just picks on and be mean to. And she is super, super rude to them and everything. And it's to the point where you really think she hates them, because she does, because she doesn't like people like that. And so she's not a very nice person, but for whatever reason, we root for her because she's so likable and everything. And she's so clueless in the head that when there's a new guy at school, she's completely smitten by him and falls in love with him at the first sight and tries to get with him. And the new guy is actually gay. He's closeted and everything. And he has a weird way of speaking. He's completely out of the decade, man. He acts like he's from the 1950s, and he acts and talks like he's James Dean and everything. I never know what the world he is saying because of the slang he's talking. And her father can't pick up on it either, and neither can Josh. And it's funny because the dad's all like, look, he tells all her boyfriends this: I got a 45 and I got a shovel. Nobody's gonna miss you. I miss this version of Mel, man. And so like, it's weird because Josh at this point is starting to get jealous when she gives Christian all that attention. But what that don't make no sense is that, why does Josh like her all of a sudden? This is the part in the movie that never made no sense. Maybe it made sense in Emma, but I've never read that. I wish they would have made it make sense. You know what I'm saying? And so like, even her friends, well, at least Murray knows that Christian is gay. He can just tell. So this movie does, sadly, it is written in the 90s, so there are some slur type words that are getting used and everything, about people, mental ineptness and their sexuality and stuff. But it's not that terrible. They are tamed and everything in this movie. And so this is just how dumb she is. She can't even realize this dude is like gay, and she couldn't even realize that Elton liked her and stuff. And the thing about her is that she doesn't just date anybody. They have to be very special, which is weird because in the show, she dates everybody and stuff. And so, like, it's pretty obvious when you see Christian, like, he is super gay and everything. And it gets to a point where he's starting to realize, oh crap, Cher likes me. So he has to make an excuse and like leave and stuff. And so at some point in time when she's upset about the whole him being gay and like no guy liking her, and this is when she starts to mellow down. And as she's walking back, she has an epiphany. She's in love with Josh because Josh is starting to hang out with Ty, and Ty likes Josh. And then it's just kind of like, well, why does she like Josh all of a sudden? Every time we've ever seen those two, they argue with one another. And it never made no sense to why those two ended up together. Plus, they are former stepbrother and stepsister, which is just gross and nasty. Yeah, they're not really brother and sister, but the fact that they lived together and had to be brother and sister is just weird, you know what I'm saying? And their parents used to do it and stuff. And so I never liked the idea of her and Josh. And so, because of this, she tones down the way she is. She doesn't wear makeup on her face because he doesn't like girls like that. And she starts to dress down in sweats. And then, so of course, when she's hanging out with Travis at one point, because she decides to do more environmental type stuff, because now she has a completely she's completely flipped her personality. She's helping out this food drive and other stuff like that. And this is when Travis starts to give, like, her some stuff, and he's all like, why don't you come to my skating thing? And she goes to the skating thing. It would have made a million times more sense if she ended up with Josh. Not Josh, Travis, and stuff. And so her two teachers get like married and everything, and the movie ends with her dating Josh now all of a sudden, which is just so weird and crap. And so, like, this movie is a testament of time. Many people have like emulated this movie in like their movies, their fiction at work, Scream Queens, Jawbreaker, Mean Girls, and it's even to the point where people are parodying this. Not so much a parody, but giving it an homage, I should say, like Iggy Azalea. Like in that one music video she did, she emulated the entire like Clueless movie, and it was so cool to like see that. It would have been great if like Alicia would have had like a cameo, and then all of a sudden, nearly 30 years later, Alicia Silverstone and Eliza Donovan reprised their role in a Rakuten commercial. I used to buy stuff all the time from Rakuten before I started with Amazon and Walmart and Target and all of them. They used to have great deals and stuff. And they used to, like, you'll buy something and you'll get points that add up to money. And I used to like collect a lot of money off them. But then they changed their company. And then they started doing coupons and crap for other stores. So I stopped because the format was different, and they deleted my wish list when they reformatted their thing. Now they kind of went back to what they used to be, but now for whatever reason I can't sign up for like membership for some bizarre reason. They need to get their crap together. But anyway, the Rakuten commercial was cool. It was awesome. It was set more in a modern time. And for whatever reason, her Cher and like Amber had to give like a speech. And she did not miss a beat. She was right back to that Valley girlness and stuff like that. That is why I wish they would make like a sequel movie to this. And and of course they have to bring Alicia back. They just have to. As much as I love Rachel and everything, they gotta bring Alicia back. But here's the thing, I also want Rachel to be in the movie, just playing a different character. She could play either like a cousin, or maybe she doesn't know Mel has like another daughter and everything. Because think about it, he's been married multiple times and stuff. And so how did she know he didn't foster another child? You know what I'm saying? But they would have to set it in modern days time. They couldn't necessarily make it that slapstick crazy comedy that they did in the 90s. But I think that if they really put their minds to it, they can come out with a really good version and stuff. And so I just want to end the video by saying, as if, like, whatever. Oh, that never gets old. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.